Hello everyone, welcome once again to my channel. So today I'm going to be showing you guys how I made this palazzo trouser with a tube top. So please watch to the end of this video and and subscribe to my channel. God bless you as you do that. And subscribing to this channel, it is free. Just click the red button you see below this video. Click the red button, you get a notification anytime I upload videos. So I'm going to be making another video explaining what vertical and horizontal line means, because I got a email from one of my subscribers complaining that she doesn't understand. I guess she's a beginner, so I'm going to be doing a video to explain that. So first thing I'm doing now is to mark my vertical and horizontal lines, which is what I'm doing. This mark I'm marking is just like a guide where my tape is going to start from. So the measurements we are using is my own measurement. So I'm using hip 42, waist for the trouser 32, then my length is 38. Another measurement that will be listed on the description box. So now first thing first, I have to start taking my vertical lines. So in that next video I'm going to be doing, it's going to be for you, Miss Rachel. If you are watching this video, I'll leave a link in the description box below this video, so you should go and watch that video. So first thing first, place your tape at the beginning of the line. You can see that up line is waist points, just like a sample. So from the waist to the hip is 8 inches. From the waist to the crotch is 10.7 inches. From the waist to the knee length, these are called vertical lines. So from the waist to the full length is vertical lines. From the knee to your calf is also vertical lines. So that video is going to be detailed, so go and watch that video. So here I'm just marking on my vertical lines from my waist to my knee, from my waist to my full length, from my waist to the hip. So I'm just going to mark all my vertical lines, and then I'll rule this out. These lines are very important if you're making a trouser, and even when you're making a top, they are very important in dressmaking. So I'll try and upload that video today. So Mrs. Rachel, please go and watch that video so I don't get email from you again. Just joking. So I'm just going to rule out my lines like so. These are my vertical lines, and I'm going to label this. These are called vertical lines. I'm going to label this. I'll label this out so I can take my horizontal lines. So this trouser is going to have elastic at the back and the band at the front. So there are different ways of making trouser. You might make the one that everything will be, that's around your hips, your waist to be elastic. So since it's going to be elastic, I'm going to be using my hip divided by 4. I'll place that figure on my crotch points. Remember I said on my shoulder to my crotch is 10.7. That's the first line I placed my hip measurements. Then I'm going to place that same measurement on my waist point, and I'm going to rule it straight, just as you can see me doing. I divided my hip by 4 because I'm using an elastic. I'm using an elastic at the waist points. If you use your normal waist measurements here, the trouser will not enter. So that's why I'm using my hip points. So at that waist point, I'm going to go down by 1 inch. This is for the waist slants. So I'll connect it to the other side of the line, just as you can see me doing. So at that crotch point, I went down by 1 inch and I connected it to the waist points. So now it's for us to get your cross extension. So the figure you got while you divided your hip by 4, mine is 10.7. That same figure, I divided it by 4 so I can get my cross extension. So I'm going to place that figure on that line. That will be my cross extension. You can use a measuring tape to divide it, which is what I used here, or you can just use your calculator, the calculator you have on your phone. So I'm just going to place my crotch extension like so. I'll mark it like so. Then I'll go up also. That's in my crotch extension I use. I'm doing this so that I can create like my crotch curve. So at the angle, which is angle 90 points, I'm going to go up by 1 inch. So now with this, I'll be able to create my crotch curve. So I'm just going to mark it like so, and then rule it out. So Miss Rachel, I hope you understand this part. So we've gotten our waist, we've gotten our crotch points. So now it's for us to get the center of a trouser. So the center, all trousers have center points. So to get the center point of your trouser, I'm just marking my crotch extension again, because I'm going to place it at the beginning of that crotch point. So where the crotch extension point is, I'll divide that figure by 2. I'm doing this so that I can get the center point of my trouser. So when you get your center point of your trouser, you place it at that crotch line, just as you can see me marking. You take it straight down to your new point, which is what I'm doing. I'm just cross-checking to be sure that I'm at the right point. I'm at the center point and it's correct. One thing about sewing, you have to cross-check. Always cross-check so you don't make mistake. Even if this is my own trouser, I still have to cross-check it. So at the new point, I'm going to place that same figure at the new point. Then I'll take it to the end point. I'm also supposed to put it at the calf point. It's because this trouser is a palazzo trouser, like a free trouser. If it was a pencil trouser, you're supposed to create your calf point. So I'll be explaining that at the detailed tutorial, the next tutorial. So I'm not going to mark all the lines like so. So now I have the center point of this trouser. How I got it again, I found the midpoint of my crotch points, my crotch extension, and I divided that figure by 2. So I'll place it at the new point, I'll place it at the calf point, and I'll also place that same figure at the end point. And I'll mark all those lines, connect all those lines, and mark it straight down. So that is the center point of the trouser. So now what you have to do now is to get your horizontal lines. Your horizontal lines means the round circumference of maybe your hip, round circumference of your waist, round circumference of your laps, which is your thigh, round circumference of your knee, your ankle, or your calf. So in this case, I'm getting the round circumference of my knee. So I divide that figure. Mine is 18. I divided that figure because it's a palazzo trouser. That is going to be big. That's why I use 18. So I divided that figure by 4, which I place at each point of this trouser. That's just as you can see me doing. So it's going to be a straight trouser, a free straight trouser. If it was a pencil trouser, I'll take the round circumference of my ankle, the round circumference of my calf. Those ones might be 14, 15, and it's going to be penciled. But this one is a palazzo. That's why it's 4.5 after dividing 18 by 4. So I'm just going to mark it like so. And then I'll connect. So from that crotch extension, I'll connect it to the new point. Then from the side, I'll connect also to the new point. Then from the ankle, I'll connect it to meet the new points, just as you can see me doing in the video. So now we've created our trouser. So you can see, very easy. I'm just going to mark everything like so, and we are done. So that's just it. So you can see, once you get that your crotch extension, you get your crotch depth, and you get your waist points, you're actually done making your trouser. So that's just it for making your trouser, and that's for you to cut. So since it's a free trouser, there's no need for me to go inwards by ½ inches are connected to the hip point to create a hip curve. There's no need for all that. It's like a straight trouser with an elastic. So I'm just going to cut this out and we are done. So now it's for me to cut the back. So this is how the back look like. I'll place the front. This is the material and I've cut the front. So I'm going to place the front on top of the back. So for the back, you're just going to go up by 1 inches. Remember, we remove 1 inches from the front part, so you're going to pay it back by going out by 1 inches. Then from that waist point, I added 1 inches also. Another thing is, again, you don't need to add any allowance here if you don't want to. You can just make it the same and it's still going to turn out fine. So for the crotch extension from the back, I'm going to use 2.5 for the back, just as you can see me doing. In some cases they'll say you should increase it by 4.1, so you can also try that. Sewing is all about trying different things, and anyone that works for you is fine. So I'm just going to connect all my lines like so. That 1 inches extension I came out from for the back, I'll connect it like so. Then I'll connect it to meet the crotch points. So this crotch extension, I went down by 2.5 inches. Then my end point, I also used 2 inches here. So it's only the waist and the hip points I added 1 inches at this side. So the side of the trouser I used 2 inches. It's only the crotch that had 2.5 inches. Then the waist and the hip had 1 inches. So I'm just going to cut it like so. That's just the basic of this. I'm going to cut it like so. Cut the end points and cut the side. So there are different methods of making a trouser. You just try anyone that works for you and it comes out fine, you go with it. There are different ways to making these trousers. So I'm just going to cut mine like this and then take it to the weaving machine and weave everywhere. I weave every side. I usually weave every side before I join the crotch points for the back and the front together. So I'm going to cut it like so and I take it to the weaving machine to weave. So after weaving, I'm going to join the back. You know, the back has 2 sides. I'll join the 2 sides of the back together and take it to the sewing machine and sew that crotch point like so. So for the front, I'm not going to join it yet because I have to fix a pocket. Pocket is optional if you want to or if you don't want to. So this is the front that I'm talking about. So I'm going to fix a pocket. So next is for me to cut the pocket and also cut the band. So it's going to have a band, just that the back is going to be elastic, while the front will be just normal. So when I'm done sewing the pocket to the front part, I'm just going to join the crotch like so. So this is the back. I'm just trying to illustrate what I'm going to do next. So I'll join the back and the front together, just as you can see me doing. So right side facing right side, you just join it together like so. Hold it with a pin. So next thing for us to do now is to cut the band. So this is the band. I'm going to be using 4 inches height. Then the round circumference of the trouser, that's after joining the back and the front together, I got 46 or so. So I'm just going to mark it with that length. Then the height is going to be 4 inches. So I'm going to cut this out. So this is the band for the trouser. So I'm just going to cut this out like so. So next thing to cut is the pocket. Like I said, it's going to have a pocket. It's optional. So the width for this pocket, I use 6 inches. While the length for this pocket, I use 12 inches. This is optional. If you don't want a pocket, just make it plain without the pockets. So I'm just going to mark it like so. And then I'll cut this out. So I'll be cutting 2 pieces. So how to fix a pocket, I think I have a detailed tutorial on that. So I'll be fast with this. I have a detailed tutorial. I'll leave it in the description box so you go and watch how to cut a pocket. So this is the pocket. As you can see, I use the same fabric for it. Then the width of the pocket, I used 2 inches inward, and the opening for the pocket, I used 7 inches. You can use 6 inches if you don't want it too wide. So I'm just going to place it like so, just as you can see me doing. This is how you fix your pockets. I have a better tutorial, so go and watch the video. I'll leave the link in the description box. So this is how you fix your trouser, your pockets. So this is one side of the front trouser. You know, it's going to be 2 sides. So I'm going to place it like so and sew this pocket to the trouser by 1/2 inch behind that line, you can see that gator line. Then I'll fold it like so, the 2 inches outward, and fold like so. Then I'm just going to stitch that side and then stitch the up. So I have a better tutorial on that, so I'll leave this link in the description box, so you just go and watch that. So after fixing the pockets, this is how it's going to look. You can see. Then I'm going to join the front, 2 sides of the front together, just like so. I'll use 1/2 inch and join the crotch area. After fixing my pockets, I'm just going to use this mark point that I'm showing you and join it 1/2 inch. So after joining, this is how it's going to look. You can see I'm done joining it. Then I'll take to the ironing table to open the seam up. Now it's supposed to join the back and the front together. So to join the back and the front together, you're going to start by joining the crotch of the front and the back, just as you can see me doing. So you can see I open the crotch point of the front and I open the crotch point of the back. So I join the 2 together. Then I'll use a pin to hold it straight down till I get to the hem of the trouser. So I'm just going to use my pin and hold it so I can sew. Then I'll take to the machine and then join this front and the back together. So this is how it's going to look after joining. I've joined the crotch, just as you can see. This is the crotch of the front and the back together. So now it's also join the sides. So I'm just going to use my sewing machine and join the sides. I'm not going to join all 2 sides together. I only join one side, because remember, the other side is going to have a zip and I'm going to fix a band. So this is the zip. I'm using invisible zip. So one side won't be closed, because that's where the band is going to pass, and the zip. So I'll be using my zipper foot to do this. So this is my zipper foot. This is how it's looking. So I'll change it so I can fix my zip on the side. So first thing first, I have to fix my band. Remember, I only close one side of the trouser. I didn't close the other side. So this is where the pockets, the zip is going to stay. So I'll fold my band using 1/2 inch. I'll fold it like so. Since I'm going to join it to the trouser, just as you can see me doing. And I'll fix my zip. So this is how I'm going to fold it. I'll fold it like so, and then top stitch on it for the front. This is the front. Remember, it's not going to have a elastic. The back will have elastic. After I'm done fixing the band, I'll insert my elastic to it. So this is for the top of that's the tube top. I didn't know that it wasn't recording full, sorry. I'm going to explain it in detail later. So I remove 6 inches from the top, just as if you are creating a tube top. You remove 6 inches from it. From that 6 inches you came down from, that will be your chest point. Then from that point you mark your waist point, which is 16 inches, your half length, then the full length of the top. Then you take your round chest measurement, connect it to your round waist measurement, and connect it to your hip measurement. The end point will be the figure you use for your hip measurement, your hip divided by 4. Then you cut it out. So it wasn't really clear here, but I'll still explain it again in detailed. So this is the first view it was supposed to give me. So this is the top. I've already cut it out. So like I said, it's like if you're creating a normal top, a half top, you remove 6 inches from me, just as if you're creating from your shoulder to your upper chest points. Is 6 inches. That's for me. It's not constant. You have to take your own measurement to be sure. So from removing 6 inches, that will be the chest points. And I'm going to take my round chest measurement, divide that by 4. There's no need to add sewing allowance to it. Then you add your round waist measurements and your round hip measurements. So it depends on how long you want the top to be. If you want it to stop at your hip points, you do that. So you're going to cut 2 pieces of this. So I'm just going to fold it like so, I was also going to cut a facing for the frame, for the upper side. This is the facing that I used to turn it and make that front part to be smooth. So you cut two pieces, one for the front and one for the back. So this is it. I'll take to the weaving machine and weave all through. After weaving, then I'm going to place the facing, right side facing each other, just as you can see me doing. Then take it to the sewing machine and sew with 1/2 inch, and then turn it to the other side. So I'm just going to flip it over like so. So I've covered the rough edge of the front. I also do the same thing to the back. It's just a small facing. If you want to use a longer facing, you can also do that. So this is how I'm sewing it. I'm sewing the facing. Then I'll take it to the ironing table and just give it like a very neat ironing. So I'll be able to fix my zip. So I only close one side of the top, which is this side. I'll close it by 1/2 inch, but I won't close this side because this is where I'm going to fix my zip. This is where the zip will be, so I won't fix it. It's going to be an invisible zip also, same with the trouser. So I'm taking it to the sewing machine. I'm just going to sew. So nice for me to change it. So this is my zipper foot. I'm just going to remove the normal one I have with my screw. Then I'll fix the zipper foot. So I remove this out so I can fix the zipper foot and sew. I think I'll do another video on how to fix an invisible zip to a dress. So this is it when I'm done fixing it. You can see it came out looking very nice. So this is for the top. I also do the same thing for the trouser. So this is how it's going to look inside, and this is how it's looking outside. So that's just it, guys. So thank you so much for watching to the end of this video. Please like and subscribe to my channel. God bless you as you do that. See you guys in the next tutorial. Bye.